Yo, what the f? What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to Soul Vice. So today we're going to be taking a look at the Air Jordan 5 in the Fire Red or Silver Tongue colorway. I'm going to be giving you my honest opinion on these, as well as giving you all the details about them. And speaking of details, this particular pair that I received from Nike has some really weird details. And as always, I'm going to be giving you a 4K on-feet look as well. But before we get to that, 95.5% of the people out there watching this video right now are not subscribed to the channel. So if you're new out there and you like in-depth reviews of sneakers and you like buttery smooth 4K on-feet footage of sneakers, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, that way you're notified when I post new videos. And if you go on to like this video, go ahead and give me a thumbs up as well. It really helps. Alright, so now that everybody out there is subscribed, let's go ahead and get into the review. Now, if you're somebody who came to this video to watch this review for something specific, I'm going to go ahead and timestamp down in the description all the specific parts of the review. So, for instance, if you wanted to just know about the sizing on these, I'm going to timestamp that. If you just want to know about the materials used on these, I'm going to timestamp that. So that way you can kind of get in and get out if you're looking for something very specific. I'm the kind of person personally who likes to go onto a channel of one of my favorite YouTubers and kind of just get to know what they think about a shoe, so I kind of kick back and relax from start to finish. But all different types of people out there, different types of viewers. So if you're somebody who likes to get in and get out, I definitely want to save you time. So these originally released as a shock drop on the Nike sneakers app the first night that they premiered the Last Dance documentary, which, by the way, if you haven't seen that yet, make sure to watch it, but I'm sure most of you have already seen it. Crazy documentary, probably one of the best sports documentaries I've ever seen. But anyway, I missed that shock drop. I really don't know how. I feel like I was like on it right away. I hit the link as soon as I got it from J23 and Soul Links. I was able to get my information in, but I ended up taking an L on that, which is a bummer because I had to get it on release day and they didn't give us the option for 2-day shipping like they did during the shock drop. So I was, waiting for 2 weeks for these to finally ship. But hey, they're here now. I'm excited about it, with one big downside, which I'm going to get to in a little bit. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, this colorway has two names. So it's the Fire Red colorway, yes, but more specifically, it's the Silver Tongue version of the Fire Reds. There's also a Black Tongue version, which I happen to like a little bit better. On the midsole here, you just basically flip the black and the red, and then, like the name would suggest, you've got a Black Tongue instead of the Silver Tongue, and you've got that Stitch 23 on the back here as well, which I think pretty much all Jordan 5s should come like that. I know it's not like the OG version of these, but Jordan did have a PE version of the Silver Tongue with the 23 too. So I think they could have worked that in and nobody really would have complained. I know I definitely wouldn't have. But I'm still happy with these nonetheless. You do have Nike Air on the back, which to me is like the biggest thing. We do have that, so I'm happy about that. And to me, this is really what it's all about. Like, I love my Nikes, I love my Adidas, my Yeezys, my Vans, all that. But to me, these are like my absolute favorite Jordan Retros, and on top of that, OG Jordan Retros. That's just kind of like my favorite thing. And this is my first pair of 5s actually, so I'm even more excited about that. Now, since this is an OG colorway release of a Jordan 5, I do want to go over the packaging real quick. You've got this black clamshell style box, the black lid with the cement gray bottom portion of the box, and you've got that kind of like trash bag type paper on the inside. And you've got quality control stamps here on the inside as well. The size tag on these reads Air Jordan 5 Retro, True White, Fire Red, Black. This is a size 12. This is a personal pair for me. US dollar price on these of $200. So for the material used on these, the upper here is almost entirely made up of leather. The leather on these I would not say is fantastic, but it's definitely not bad. It's pretty soft, not tumbled or anything like that, which is good. I think tumbled leather on a Jordan 5 will look pretty weird. It does have some texture to it, so it's not like overly smooth and plasticky or anything like that. And as far as I can tell, all the panels on here are real leather. Sometimes Jordan likes to kind of mix up some synthetic leather panels here and there, amongst real leather. Sometimes they just give us all synthetic leather. So as far as I can tell, all real leather and a decent quality leather at that. And then on the side, you've got your plastic netting, and you've got your plastic netting on the tongue as well. Plastic eyelets and the 3M reflective material up here at the top of the tongue. The inside has quite a bit of padding. The tongue is nicely padded. The ankle collar has a lot of padding as well. So with the insole, they went with a polyurethane insole, which I appreciate. So it's got some nice cushion to it. A lot of times they give us those foam insoles that pretty much bottom out after like a half hour and they're completely pointless. So I'm glad that on a lot of the OG colorways, they're doing the polyurethane insole. Now the last bit of material here worth mentioning in my opinion is gonna be your sole unit. You've got a polyurethane midsole with 2 air units. You've got one in the forefoot and you've got a windowed one back in the heel. So now I kind of want to just go over the things that I think are like the key details of an Air Jordan 5, or at least an OG colorway of an Air Jordan 5. The first one being that Nike Air logo on the back. Of course, we know we're not always lucky enough to get Nike Air on Air Jordans, but thankfully lately on all the OG colorways, they have been giving us Nike Air. Biggest differences on this, the logo here is actually oversized a little bit. If you look at older versions of the Fire Red 5, the logo's there, but it's just a little bit smaller. I'm also really happy that it's contrasting color. So for instance, on the infrared 6s, you've got black on black stitching, so you don't really see it as much. But with the Fire Red 5s, you've got that Fire Red Nike Air, so it's super, super loud. You can't miss it. Next, on the midsole, you've got these fighter jet shark's teeth. So that's kind of one of the biggest inspirations for the Jordan 5. For Tinker Hatfield, he was looking at those planes from World War II, and that's kind of where he got the teeth there on the side. You definitely can't talk about a Jordan 5 without talking about that 3M tongue either. And when I was talking about those weird details, this is actually one of them. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. I wanna finish going over the shoe. But yeah, you've got that super loud, super bright 3M right there on the tongue. When the light hits that, that really, really pops. So that's like probably the biggest standout feature in my opinion of the Jordan 5. And then the other really big detail of a Jordan 5 is gonna be the outsole. This is the first Air Jordan that they used a translucent outsole on, and I think it really looks great on the Jordan 5, especially since you've got that big giant Jumpman right under it. Now sizing on these, for me, I went true to size and I think they fit perfect. I wouldn't size up or size down if I were you. Of course, if you can, go ahead and try on a pair of Air Jordan 5s. Pretty much any retro 5 is gonna fit like this. So again, for me, that's true to size. I think you'll be safe if you do true to size as well. All right, so let's talk about quality on these. Quality control, at least on my pair, is absolute shit. So, I mean, glue stains, things like that, not so bad. The leather panels, they all seem to match up. Not a whole lot of loose thread or anything like that. The craziest thing though, is they put the wrong tongue on my pair. Now, I don't know which pair has the right tongue and which one has the wrong tongue, but I don't know if you can tell just by looking at them. Trust me, I'm not crazy. I'm gonna give you a close-up in just a second. But these tongues, they don't even come close to matching. They're completely different. This almost looks like this came from like a grade school size. This almost looks like it came from like a size 14 or 15 though. So again, I don't know which one's right and which one's wrong, but I definitely know one of them is definitely wrong, if not both of them are wrong. So that's probably like one of the worst factory flaws I've seen. At least this is definitely the worst that I've seen on any pair that I've received from Nike. So obviously I don't think they like sent me a fake pair, but these, I have no idea how they pass quality control, because as soon as I pulled these out of the box, I was like, something doesn't seem right. Now, they normally tie these up like super tight. When you pull them out of the box, they're just like tight as possible. So I thought maybe that's why I couldn't quite get this one to come up as high as this. But I loosened them up, I put them on feet, and I'm like, man, these just, they seem way different. And I look side by side, these are like way different. So let's go ahead and look at them close up so you know I'm not losing my mind. All right, so let's look at these tongues up close. Just so you know, I'm not crazy, I'm not being nitpicky. These are straight up different tongues on the same pair of shoes. So over on this one, you can see there's kind of like a gradual curve right here. This is like almost a 90-degree angle. Like that's a way, way different shape, right? The Jumpman logo. On this side, the indent outline around the outside of the Jumpman almost touches the top up there. On this side, you got quite a bit of distance. So that's the other difference. The netting on the tongue itself, on this side, it's like nice and tight, not a lot of wrinkles. Over here, it's like super, super loose, just like way, way, way looser. So that was the other thing I noticed. And then just so you guys know, for sure, I'm not crazy. Let's go ahead and measure these, all right? Start at the bottom of the reflective, if I can talk. Start at the bottom of the reflective material, just over 3 inches on this side, okay? Over here, start at the bottom, go up to the top, almost 4 inches. That's like over 3.5 inches. So there's like a good like ½ inch difference on the size. And that's one piece. It's not like there's just like a little bit of extra material on one side or the other. I mean, you could tell the ribs here on both sides are different. It's just like, it's a completely different tongue. So I'm gonna reach out to Nike. Hopefully they can do something for me. I mean, you know, they've got extra pairs at the warehouse. They don't sell all of them at one time. So I'm hoping that I can just send these back and get a new pair. But anyway, I just was pretty disappointed with that. I've never seen anything that bad as far as quality control goes, especially, you know, passing the quality control with the stamp on the inside of the box. Pretty crazy. So anyway, I'm not losing my mind. Those are definitely two different tongues. So other than that gigantic flaw that I'm assuming is going to be only on my pair, or if there's any other pairs out there, it's going to be very few. Overall, they're not terrible. I think they did a good job on these. I'm really excited to have them in my collection. Like again, this is my first pair of Jordan 5s, and I don't really have a whole lot of Jordans that are kind of like white based. I think really the only ones that I have are the Katrina 3s from 2018. So this is a really great colorway to have in the collection. I would definitely cop these if you're thinking about it. It's an OG colorway of a Jordan. It doesn't really get that much better in my opinion. Now to go with these and with my other black and red and white and kind of Bulls colored Air Jordans, I thought it would be really cool to get a vintage Chicago Bulls t-shirt. So I went on eBay and I copped one of the Masters of the Ring shirts, if you're familiar with that, from 1992. That was when they won their championship in 1992, so it had that back-to-back, the rings on it with the Chicago Bull logo. Fire t-shirt, right? So I find one that's in like perfect condition. They were like, hey, I got this in 1992. I wore it one time. Since then, it's been in storage. So this is in great condition. From the photos, it looks super clean. The shirt got to me and it looked so good that I thought it was maybe like a fake, like it was a reprint or something like that. But I could tell by the stitching, it definitely was a legit vintage tee. So obviously I wanted to wash it, right? Because I don't know the person who had it before me. So I threw it in the washing machine, pulled it out of the wash today, and it completely fell apart. Like it just turned into paste, basically. It was like this really weird black powdery paste. The only thing that was holding it together was the screen print logo, or the graphic on the front. That was the only part that was intact. It just completely disintegrated. So I was super bummed about that. But on Instagram, I've been following this guy for a while, Secondhand Grails. He sells vintage clothing. He has his own collection of vintage clothing. He sells a ton of Bulls stuff, other sports memorabilia, wrestling, awesome stuff from the 90s and 80s. So I hit him up and I was like, hey man, like how am I supposed to take care of these clothes? And he was nice enough to reply. I hadn't bought anything from him yet. I'm just a complete rando on Instagram, but he took time out of his day to explain to me, I just learned the hard way, you don't want to buy new vintage clothing because most likely it's going to have dry rot. So you want something that's been worn, it's kind of stood the test of time already. So I want to give a huge shout out to Secondhand Grails. Definitely go look him up on Instagram if you're into vintage clothing. He's got a really nice collection. He's putting new stuff on there every day. His prices are super reasonable. He's not trying to crack anybody over the head with stupid prices. Even with The Last Dance coming out, obviously, you know, vintage and just anything Bulls or Michael Jordan related is like skyrocketing in price. But his prices are super reasonable. Really nice guy. He had definitely no obligation to reply to my message and kind of explain to me what to look for. But he did anyway, and I super appreciate that. So again, if you're looking for any vintage clothing, t-shirts, hats, whatever, check out Secondhand Grails on Instagram. He's got great stuff, super reputable. Trust me, you will not regret it. Now I've actually got a giveaway that I'm gonna be announcing very soon. I just copped the Flint 13s off the shock drop that happened for the finale of The Last Dance. Those are arriving tomorrow at my place. So I'm gonna be filming that review very soon. And when I do, I will be announcing a giveaway. So if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you're notified when that video does get published. Make sure to smash the like button if you like this video. It will really help me. And down in the comments, let me know if you watched The Last Dance. You know what I mean, The Last Dance. Let me know what your favorite episode was or favorite week. I've got to say, probably for me, it's going to be a toss-up between the episode with Kobe or those last two episodes. Just the end of that series was just so great. I'm a really big fan of it. I'm just really sad that it's over. I kind of want to already go back and watch it again. But anyway, let me know in the comments which one was your favorite. Other than that, guys, though, I will catch you in the next review, which is going to be the Flint 13s. Later. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to Soul Vice. Hope you guys are doing well out there. I don't know about you, but I know I need to see a barber.